Okay, we are now recording, so
Awesome.
do you want me to just dig in, or do one of you want to give a prayer there before we start?
Can we have a prayer? Would that be all right?
That would be great if one of you would like to do that.
Okay. Brother Palmer, will you pray for us, please? Thank you. I'd be happy.
We're so grateful for the many blessings. We're grateful for the church and for the great opportunities the church gives us in helping us research our family. This class, I pray that they'll be with our instructor. Helpful in the coming days and weeks. In the name of Jesus.
We're grateful for Brother Lowry that he's willing to Zoom with us and share his knowledge of FamilySearch. So we'll turn it over to you, okay?
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that prayer. So today is going to be a really thorough covering of what you would see on the opening pages of FamilySearch. Most of you will be familiar with most of it, but hopefully there will be one or two things that you'll say, gee, I never knew about that, and you'll find it interesting. So we're just going to start at the top and work our way down. I have a checklist here to make sure that I get it done all right. First thing that everybody already knows, but we just had a bunch of 11-year-olds come into either young men or young women. And I go through and I make sure that all of them have FamilySearch accounts, that they know how to do the basic things of FamilySearch. And so the first thing I tell them is how to get to FamilySearch, which is FamilySearch.org. Like I say, all of you know that already, and so that's fine. And all of you know how to sign in, but it may have been a while since you actually created your account. It's changed a little bit over the years, and so I like to just review how to do that. My advice to people when they're helping someone to create an account is to mostly just do it for them. And the reason why is you only have to do it once. Why waste your time teaching them to go through a laborious process that they'll never need to do again and could frustrate them when there's such a great family experience on the other side. So that's different if you're a family history leader or consultant and you need to teach other people how to do it, then yes, you need to learn how. But otherwise, just help them get an account and be happy. Because of the large public presence that we have with FamilySearch, we've added Facebook, Google, and Apple as 3 other ways to sign up to get on FamilySearch. There's just some people who do not want to have a church account or a FamilySearch account because it's associated with the church, but they're happy to use Facebook, Google, or Apple. And so you can get in with one of those. I recommend that anybody who's in the church either use a church account or a FamilySearch account. They used to be the same thing. Several years ago, they separated them. And again, that was because people who were not members of the church wanted to create a FamilySearch account. They didn't want to have a church account, though. And so that allowed them to have one without the other by separating them. Is one better than the other? No, not really. I have both. I have different usernames and passwords on both. But I tell most people if they have both, just keep the username and password the same so you don't have to remember which one you're doing. Today, I'm going to show you how to create a FamilySearch account, though. When you're creating an account, I've got one of my youth here that's named Alan, and his last name is Packer. He was born January the 10th. And now when you go to the year, the youngest person you can do is an 8-year-old. If they're less than 8 years old, you cannot create an account for them. If they're between 8 and 14, you're going to be required to get permission from their parents. Usernames, we'll just put in something here, test 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 8, 7. Hopefully that hasn't been used. And some crazy password here. I recommend that they use something that they can remember, but my computer assigns one and it's crazy. Once they do that, you'll want to put in an email address that they can use to get recovery in case they forget their username and password. And most of the 11-year-olds will forget their username and password. So we usually have the email go to their parents. Some of them have their own password their own email, and they use that, but that's fine. I also recommend that they check the boxes to send messages with discoveries, and that they do want their church information included. And then when they do that, it'll already have their birth date. They'll need to put their record number, which is something like that. Usually starts with 000 and oftentimes ends in A. And then you want to agree to the terms that you have. Once you do that and you click done, I'm not going to do that because I'm not going to create a new account here. It will take you to several other screens. And if they're under 14, this is where you can put in a parent's text number or email so that it can send them a message and they can approve it. So that's how you help somebody get signed up. Once they have signed up, and again, you go to the sign in screen, you have these same 5 options: signing up with Facebook, signing in with Facebook, Google, Apple, your church account, or your username and password that you just created. So I'm going to go ahead. I don't think there's any questions, but you guys have got the microphone in the middle. If you have questions,
I have one.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. We had a young person come to a group last night, and they had made their account at school. And so when we went to go get ordinances for baptisms, it didn't show up temple. And so do we have to have her go to FamilySearch and combine or add her membership number, because she did it through her other thing, so the church didn't recognize her as a member of the church, so she couldn't get her baptism names. So how do we fix that? How do we
So we're going to go into, but I'll just do it right now, settings. And I believe if she goes into settings and goes to account, there's a little thing right here that says show temple options. And she'll need to turn that on, and it'll probably ask her for her member record number and so on. If that doesn't work, then you may need to go set up a FamilySearch account.
Okay, so let's go to settings and their account and then add the church. Okay.
Yes.
I didn't know what to do. I'm sorry. I didn't know what to do.
No, that's okay.
I knew that I says, you're not connected to the church and we need to connect you. And she didn't have her church ID number with her at that time. So,
yeah, she will need that.
She needs that to do. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She can get her church membership record ID number from her clerk, or if she has a church account already, she can get it on LDS Tools.
Right.
So, okay.
Great. Have access to that.
All right. Okay, what I want to talk about before we go on, there also are phone apps. I see that Christy has joined us, and that's great. She uses the phone all the time. I hardly ever use it because I prefer, my fingers are so big, they just don't do well on the phone. I prefer using the computer, but there are 3 separate apps that do everything that the online web version does. The Family Tree app, which has the white background, Memories has a green background, Get Involved has a blue background. We'll talk about where those are on the web version as we go through it today. But you can do pretty much everything the same on both. There's some slight little differences, especially on Get Involved and a little bit with Memories. But if you feel more comfortable using this, then that's great. And if you have questions, Chris or probably Bob or anybody else there that uses their phone all the time can help you out with that. Okay, now let's go look at are this first page. I call it the home page or the dashboard, because when you come here, it shows home highlighted at the beginning. This page will show up different pretty much every time. It's they're trying to figure out what you would like to see or need to see in order to begin working in FamilySearch. For example, if you're a new user that doesn't have hardly any ancestors in your tree, they're probably going to put some things on here for helping you add ancestors. In my case, they see that I've got tons of ancestors, that I have tons of temple work that needs to be done. So right up here, first thing they say is, well, you probably want to do ordinances ready and find a person, or maybe you want to make a temple appointment. On the left-hand side, they show my ancestors and memories that have been recently added, and I can just scroll down and see those. Other things on the right side, I can search through the collections. I'm the Temple and Family History Leader, so maybe I'm new and I don't know what I'm doing. I can click this link to help me understand my calling. They have here temple and record hints that I might want to do. And so I can look at some of those. And then they have a list of recent people that I've added. I mean, that I've looked at in the tree, because I probably want to go back to someone that I've recently looked at. And so this makes it real easy. And then second to last, they have a to-do list. I have here that I'm going to need to find a guinea pig for my class. We'll do that next time, because I find when I go through and I'm doing family tree stuff, if I do somebody that's sitting there in Payson, it's a lot more interesting for you guys than looking at something of mine. I love the background there with Bob and his bike. That's not Bob.
Well, that's Wicker.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So that's everything on the home tab. The next one over here lists friends. And I will confess, I basically don't use this. I added one, but if you add friends in FamilySearch, you can share posts with each other. You can communicate with them. You can create lists and have lists of friends. I just created my first list and it just has my only friend in it. But it's also a way you can get to family groups. And so here are some family groups that I have. We'll talk about those a little bit later. Okay. Going back over here to the home page. The next one is hints. This used to be called tasks. I noticed on the dashboard, they called it records and temples, which actually makes more sense because that's what they're listing here. They're listing records that need to be attached and temple work that either can be done or needs more information to be done. If you uncheck temple, then it'll just show you record hints that need to be attached to your ancestors. If you do just the temple, then it'll show you these green ones, obviously, are temple work that needs to be done. The yellow ones are ordinances that need more information before they can be done, so you may want to work on those. So just a quick way to go through. If you don't know what you want to do in FamilySearch, this can give you some ideas of some work to do. And then recents is another way to get back to that list of people who you have recently viewed, because you may want to go back to them again. People in green, these are public people that everybody can see. The purple ones are private people, basically living people that I've added, and I'm the only one who can see those. So, okay, so that's basically the list of what I call the home page and the options that you have for that. The next thing I want to go over are these icons right up here. You may or may not know what a lot of these mean, but the first one is kind of a pinpoint. And if you click on that, it shows you where are all the FamilySearch centers. And you can click here to find one, and you can say, well, I live in, Payson, Utah. So where's the Family Search centers that I can go to?
They need to
And
fix it for us. They never
What's
have
that?
the address. They need to fix it for us because they still have the wrong address. We've asked them to fix that.
It's not 955 West, 450 South.
No, that's the old one.
Well,
That's the new one. That's the new one. That's the new one.
okay, so they
We
fixed
have
it.
people that go there and they get sent to the old one. So that's good. It's fixed now. Okay.
Yep, it's good. It's all good here. Okay, then the next thing on there is this little world. If you click on that, it shows you 41 different languages that Family Search has been translated to. And so if you don't like English, you'd rather do Spanish, or I don't even know what Eastie is, then you can do it. So plenty of languages to choose from if you have friends who don't speak English. This little question mark here is context-sensitive help. You'll notice right now we're only seeing how to do family history and then 4 things at the bottom. But if I go over here to the home page and I click that same help, now it brings up overview, how to get started, some other suggested topics. So this help always changes depending on where you are. So it's called context sensitive. It's trying to give you help on what you probably need from where you are. These bottom 4 are always the same. This is a great way if you need to contact them, like you need a phone number or something, or helper resources, which I use all the time as a Temple and Family History leader. Here you can see this planner, and this shows all the people that I'm currently helping. And I can just click on this, and then I can see their tree and go in and do things as if I were them. Whoever my guinea pig is, they will show up in this list so that I can go in and help them with their tree. All right, the next thing is the chat boxes over. These chat boxes, again, this is something I've been using in the past, and I didn't realize I was using it because it's changed a little bit. But this allows you to chat with other people in Family Search. For example, let's suppose you went and looked at one of your ancestors and you saw that somebody had changed one of the dates or something, and you wanted to know why. You can click on the name of the person who changed it, and it'll give you an option to email them or chat with them. If you say chat, it'll just put a message in here, and the next time they log on, they can read it. Or if they happen to be online at the time, it'll actually do a live chat with them. So this is kind of a cool new feature. My cousin, Ivo, sent me some information about a picture I had posted. And so I said, great, I appreciate that. And so we chatted back and forth, and I told him I had done it. Okay, the next one is the bell over here. This is notifications. When you get a brand new notification, there will be a little red dot right above the bell. And then you can click here to go see what your notifications are. I had my 2023 yearly recap. I have completed ordinances I can go look at, and so on. So this is just a nice way to let you know when they send you notifications. The last one is kind of a hidden menu. And that one you find by either clicking on your portrait or your name. Either one of those will do the same thing. And when you click on that, it brings up this hidden menu. And this is where I already answered the question before of going to settings. In fact, let's go ahead and review those. By default, when you come into the settings tab, it brings you to the profile section. Here you can see what your name is, your contact ID, where you are located, and then your email address down here. I've made mine public so that other people can contact me and send me emails. You can put a picture up here so people can see how good looking you are. In my case, that didn't work very well, but then if you go click on your account, You can see what your full name is, what you want your display name to be. This is where you can change your password. It shows your username, the recovery number, and email. When you have your youth set up their accounts, in fact, everybody should, make sure that they go into this settings and they put a recovery mobile number and a recovery email in there. My mobile number is private, but my email I've made public. But I can use either one of those to recover. When I come into FamilySearch, I always want to begin with me. And so you can put where your starting person is. You may or may not want that all the time, and you can change it here if you don't like that. And then this Romanized script, what that is, by default, FamilySearch always shows names in the language that they were basically written in. So if you're looking at Korean names or Chinese names, it'll have it in the Chinese format, which is kind of hard to read. If you turn this on, it'll always display names in a Romanized or a Latin script so that you can read it. So that's where you do that. Then down here, I've already showed you this. This is where you say you want to show the temple options, turn that on or off. Members who want to use ordinances ready, find names to take the temple, they want to make sure this is turned on. Notifications, you can get notifications about a lot of stuff. I turned off discovery news and tips because I was getting tired of the weekly messages they were sending me, but I think I'm going to turn it back on because there's some other things that have been happening that I haven't known about and I want to know. So I'm going to turn it back on. But I always want FamilySearch information, discoveries about my ancestors, being able to receive and offer help, shared temple ordinances, and family groups. I leave those all on. And then this says, what language do you want these messages in? And I like mine in English. So the final
Can I
one
ask
is,
another question?
yes, question.
Okay. We have a lot of youth come in the evenings and they are trying to set up their accounts or fix their accounts. I haven't ever taken them to their profile and that. So this is really important to do with anybody we work with, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially the first time they set up their account, they should do it.
Yeah.
But if they come in later, you should go in here and look at it and make sure that it's all set up.
And then if a person has their email change and don't use another one or their phone number, that's where they need to go to change it and the church will keep track of it.
FamilySearch.
FamilySearch, yeah.
Yes, we'll keep track of. If they want to change it in LDS tools, then they need to go to churchofjesuschrist.org and change it there.
Okay. For tools is that, okay, thank you.
Yes. Okay, then the final tab is permissions. Do I want to include my profile information in directory search results? I like my family, friends, and others on FamilySearch to be able to find and collaborate with me, so I leave this on. If you're concerned about privacy and don't want people to know, then I guess you could turn that off. Enable relationship viewing is really cool, and I recommend that you turn that on because when somebody clicks on a name of somebody who modified something, like let's suppose I added a date to somebody's ancestor, and they said, well, who is this guy? And they click on Steve Lowry, and then it'll give them an option to see how they and I are related. And they'll say, oh, that's my second cousin. How cool. If they see it's like a fifth cousin, 4 times removed, they're gonna say, why is he messing with my ancestors? But anyway, I would recommend that you turn those on. Okay, under helper access, this is the other thing that I like to do with the youth. By default, your helper number is the last 5 digits of your church account, your church MRIN. And you can come in and change this if you want to. But I'll show you later on where this is used in order for me to access other people's accounts. Last thing on here is other websites that I've granted family tree access to. So you can see Find My Past, Ancestry, My Heritage, Find a Record, Pozilla, so on. Way down, there's a lot of them. I like everybody to have access to my FamilySearch account so that they can all coordinate. But if you ever find one that you don't want to use anymore, or they're abusing it, you can just come in and X out, and they will no longer have permissions to access your FamilySearch account. Okay, that's everything on the bottom level. Any questions on any of that? Okay, actually it's not, because I didn't show you family groups in detail yet. Family groups was initially set up to allow people within a certain family to share ordinances and to be able to chat back and forth with each other. But then we decided, you know what? We're one big family in a ward, so we created a ward group, but you can do it in the family groups. You can have up to 10 family groups, and each family group can have up to 99 people. And you can say, well, we have more than 99 people in our ward. Well, that's true, but we've yet to have actually 99 people in the ward join the group. So if that happens, then you'll have to find a different way to solve that. Okay, next thing is the source box. Nope, contacts. This is again another one that I don't use. Just to show you how it worked, I added my cousin Ivo. You can add contacts like when you message them or chat with them, if you want them to show up in this list. And if you turn the map on, it will show you where they live. So, like I said, I don't really use this. And then the final thing is SourceBox. SourceBox I use a lot. When you attach sources, most of the time it'll find everybody in a single family and allow you to attach all of them at one time. This is another class that I teach. But sometimes there will be other people on that source document that are not in that family and aren't up there to be attached right away. And you don't want to lose the source. So what you can do is when you attach a source to one of your relatives, you can check a little box that says to add it to this source box. And then you can come back here later and attach it to whoever you want, maybe another family member or a neighbor or somebody else that wasn't in that direct record when you were doing the initial attaching. If none of that makes sense, you need to come to my attaching class. Okay, the last thing is if you want to sign out, you do it here. I'm going to stay in for now because I want to come back to the help others. This little life ring here, if you click on that, it gives you a really fast name to help somebody. And the way you would do that is you would enter their username. So like maybe I want to help JY Lowry, and then his or her helper number. And I just showed you a few minutes ago where to find that helper number. It was down on settings and permissions. Once you type in their username and their helper number, you will then have access to their family tree, and you can go in and help them do additions, changes, learn how to use things. Many times I've called somebody on the phone, they've given me their username and helper number. They bring up their tree, I bring up their tree, and then we both can just follow along, and it's a lot easier when you can see what they're talking about. Okay, now we've covered the FamilySearch home, everything here, and all these icons. And now I want to go to what's under this family tree tab. When you click on here and you go to overview, this is something you would have your youth or somebody who's just logged into FamilySearch for the very first time. It explains to them how the tree works, why it's used, some other information about it. I'm not going to review that here today, but it gives them just a brief overview. The next option is to go to the tree. The tree by default will bring up you as the anchor. So here's me, Stephen Dwayne, and it'll be in whatever format you last were in. So apparently I was last using the portrait format. Other options here include landscape. This is kind of what most of us are used to seeing. It shows you all of your children and 2 generations above. If you want to go any further, you have to click these arrows, which will open up 2 more generations, and then you can click this arrow, 2 more generations. And so it's kind of a pain in the rear to if you want to just see multiple generations out. But if you're only interested in one line, it works great. What I prefer and love is the fan chart. That shows me as the person here in the middle. Here's my children and spouse below. And then up above, it shows my mom and dad, their parents, the grandparents, the great-great, and you can go back up to 7 generations. You change that over here, 4, 5, 6, or 7. And you can immediately see really interesting information about them. In this case, we're looking at where they were born. You can change some of that to look at other information, but that's another lesson and another time. Here's another way to get at recents. So I've shown you at least 3 different ways so far to get at the recent people that you have viewed. But this is really helpful when you say, oh, I know I was working on Carlos Lavar. Where is he? And you can just come down here and immediately find him, and you don't have to go searching for him again. Find is often very useful when you want to find somebody who is already in the tree. I'm just going to look for Dwayne Lowry. I'm pretty sure he's in the tree. I know he lived in Utah and he was born about 1934. So we will search. And there's Dwayne Carlos Lowry. Oh, he was born in Canada. Look at that. But it still found him because he was married in Utah. And there's his mom and dad and his spouse and so on. So this is an easy way to find people that are already in the tree. The next thing down. What's that?
My ID too. If you've kept an ID number for a person and you're trying to go back, it's easy to type in their ID number.
And you can do that off recents as well. When you go to recents, you can find the name or the ID number in here. So either one works. Great comment. Okay, following is a list of people that you are following. I've got a bunch here right now. I'm going to go just look at this guy, John Francis Chilton. At the top of every person's page is a little star right here that says following. And if you click on that, it either toggles on or off, which either adds or deletes it from this list over here. If you toggle it on, they allow you at that time to put a tag with it. So you can say, why am I following him? Well, I'm researching him. I'm interested in him. I didn't put any reason on this one. Here's one where I need to request the sealing. Here's one where I've got the temple 110-year rule. I need to request baptism, so on, I mean. So it's just a nice way to have a list of people that you want to keep track of. They don't have to be one of your recents. They can just be somebody and it'll explain why. And then you can go through and find them. Okay, and then the last one is my contributions. So this is an interesting way to go see what kind of changes you have made. I can go look back here. How far back? It goes a long ways back. Anyway, probably less than 2 years, I would think. You can go see what it was you changed, when it was you changed it. You can go look at your stats. I can see that I did a lot of contributions in 2019 and 2017. Kind of waned since then. That's because I started teaching classes and I was helping everybody else do theirs instead of doing mine. And that's okay. I can see, what sources I've added, what memories I've done, and how many people I've added. And then this is also a good place to see all the private people in your tree, because nobody else can see these. And sometimes you forget who all of them are. So here's a list of all your private people. So basically the living ones that nobody else can see that are in your tree. Okay, any questions on the family tree drop down? Okay, I think we're making good time here. We're going to look at search now. There's a bunch of different things that you can search. First one is records. So these are things that have been scanned in that have been indexed so that you can search them. So maybe, I want to go, I'm not going to do one because you guys all know how to do this, I think, anyway. This is a fast way to search through records that are in FamilySearch. The second thing is searching through images. So these are places or records that have not been indexed yet. For example, maybe I know that my ancestors are from Framingham, Massachusetts. So I can go look and say, what are all of the image groups you have from Framingham, Massachusetts? And it can show me what those are. And then I can actually look at each one of the images. So it's kind of like going into a library and thumbing through a book, or getting a roll of microfilm and going through the microfilm. It's not going to give you indexed information, but I can go in here and click on this, image, and it'll just go through and show me one image at a time. And you got to have a lot more patience than I have to be able to do this, but it is doable if you're down to where you just don't have any other options and you're trying to find it and you don't want to drive out to Framingham. This is a way to get that done. Okay, the next one on search is genealogies. Probably one of the biggest complaints I get about FamilySearch is they screwed up my tree.
Yes.
Because FamilySearch is a public thing and anybody can change anything at any time. And they say, I wish I could just put something up there that nobody could change. Well, you can do that in FamilySearch. People don't always know that. It's called a genealogy. You upload it, you can do it as a JEDCOM file or several other ways. Once it's uploaded, though, it is static. Nobody can change it. And you can search within uploaded genealogies. So somebody did one for my family tree. So I'm going to look for Rulon Lowry. My grandfather was born in Utah in about 1904. I don't know when. And so it's searching through all the genealogies, and it found one right here. So I can go look at that genealogy. It comes up in the pedigree format, and you can scroll through and it'll show me, what they've got. It's just on this Lowry line all the way up, because it was obviously Lowry who did it. And so, but nobody can change this. And so it's a cool way to go find information that people have uploaded that is static. It's not being changed all the time. And usually you can guarantee that these are accurate because people have taken great care to make sure that all the information is right. Okay, now back to my searching. The next one is going to be catalog. This, just think of that you went into a library and you pulled out the card catalog, and you can search something there. Maybe Taylorville, Canada. That's where my dad was born. Not Nova Scotia, it was one in Alberta. So we go ahead and do a search, and then it says, well, we found 2 cemeteries. So, you click on this. All it's going to do is give you the information about it. It's like a card in a card catalog. It's not the information itself. So, but that can be beneficial to help narrow down where you're searching for things. Books, same thing. If you want to just go look through the digital library, maybe I want to find a Utah map because I can't find any old ones. So I'll look for it in maps. And you do a search. See what it can find. And look at that, it found a Utah map. So it's an easier way than having to go to the library and find some of these things that are in books. Okay, let's go back to our search. The last one is called Research Wiki. Many of you have probably used this before. It's a collection of posts and blogs by people. Wiki, you're familiar with how those work. Again, maybe I want to find out something about Taylorville, Canada, and what people have said about it. So I can put that in here, and it'll say, okay, here's what we have. We've got a local history of Canada on a BYU digital archive and so on. So anyway, just an easy way to go find some information quickly. Memories is the next one. If you click on the overview, again, it'll give you overview of memories. As I mentioned over here, memories is standalone. Over here is an app on the phone. Features are pretty much the same. If you go look at the gallery, it'll show you all of the memories that you have ever uploaded for any person. It's nice to be able to divide these into albums. So I have one for my Allen family, my Joyner family, and so on. And then that way you can kind of limit where they're used. I have a whole nother class on memories, so I'm not going to talk too much about that today. You can click on people, and people will show you all of your ancestors. And right now it's doing all. If I change this to just close relatives, it'll come up much faster. It's showing you all of your close relatives who have memories uploaded. You could also go look and see, well, what are the memories, people that I've added memories to? And you can just list those. Finally, you can say, what memories do I have that I haven't attached to the family tree? These are all pretty much living people, but you can come in here and find who those are so you can attach those. And then you can do the all. I don't use this a whole lot, but I can see how it could be useful.
So how is Garth Wilkinson related to you?
He is my uncle. Do you know Garth?
Yeah, he was in our ward at St. George.
Oh, yeah, he's still there.
Yep, I see him on Facebook. Great guy.
I talk to him regularly, and every time we go down to St. George, which we're going down for the Red Cliffs open house, we'll drop in and see him again. But yes, he married my dad's sister. So that's how I know him.
That's great.
Small world, huh? Then if
Yeah.
you want to find a memory, when you upload a memory, you can put a tag on it, or you can just search the text within the memory. Like maybe a topic tag, I might want to just find baptisms that I've uploaded. So you can click that, and then it'll show you. So here's all the ones that have been done for baptisms. But if I want to do text, maybe I just want to say Lowry group or something like that. It'll show me just the ones that say Lowry group. So here's a Lowry group sheet. And so, anyway, so you can search through memories that you've uploaded. That's the find feature. Get involved. Let me go back over here again. It has its own app if you're on the phone. But there are a few little things you can do in the app that you can't do up here. But for the most part, it's almost one-to-one of the things you can do. If you want to find out what Get Involved is all about, you can click on the overview and go in and read that. But mostly, you have opportunity that you can use within Get Involved. By the way, this replaces indexing, but indexing is one of the opportunities. So in here, you can see I've indexed 2,400 names so far. I've reviewed 41. Actually, that's groups. But this is what they're focusing on more now. The quick name review, full name review, and verifying places. Nice. These 3 used to only be available on the phone app. Now you can do it up here, which is awesome. It's just a nice place to go in and help FamilySearch with their data tables to make sure that all the places and names they have in are correct. And then the quick name review is looking at a document like a marriage, birth, or death certificate. And it's saying the computer has gone in and said, this name says Alicia. Is that right? Yes, no, or I don't know. And that's how easy it is. So you just do quick name reviews, and it's an awesome way to go in and help. I've done some from Colombia, because that's where I served my mission. And I did another Spanish country just because they had a lot more of those than they did English ones. Okay. You can go in, and this is kind of fun to do. They added this mostly for non-members. I'm just saying, because they were saying, you know, we do all this stuff and we don't get any pats on the back or acknowledgements or badges or anything. And so they said some people want to go see, you know, what they've done. And so I can see here that I've done 2,875 contributions. 2,846 of those are attachments, 29 are indexing. Here's some people that I've done. I can see I've done 49 quick name reviews. I've done 30 attachments. I did 55 records in the 1950 census. Liberia, Colombia, so far. If you go look at your impact overview, it kind of shows you. Is this pop-up showing? Can you guys see
Yes.
the pop-up? Okay, good.
Yes.
I've made over 2,000 contributions. My top country, United States. Top activity was indexing. I've made it possible for 149 people to be attached to the family tree, and so on. So you can kind of come in here and just feel good about yourself and what you've done. And then indexing, like I said, if you really are a glutton for punishment, you can still come in here. You can still do batches. You can find a project. I will just tell you, they are really difficult ones. So if that's what you like, go for it. Activities. Hey, time check. We got 12 minutes here. If you go look at the all activities, I'll come back and look at those last. But these are things that I use, especially with the youth, when I want to get them involved and doing something fun with FamilySearch. So we'll go first and say, where am I from? And so it'll bring up a page and it'll show them back 8 generations of all of their ancestors. You can cut it down and say, well, I only want to look at 4 generations. And you can focus in on these, and then if they've got pictures of them, it'll show you who they are and where they live. And it's just kind of a fun way, you know, to see where you're from. You can go in and look at surname origins. Say, where did my last name come from? You know, I just want to know. And so they'll tell you this came from Irish and Scottish and English variants of Lowry or Lowry, similar surnames down here, and so on. So it's usually found in the US, Ireland, or England. So just a little bit of fun on that. All About Me tells you everything that happened the year you were born. So you can see how many people shared my names. There's 751,331. The names are actually most popular in California, Texas, Florida, and New York. Anyway, kind of interesting. Your heritage, how much a first class stamp cost, what was the most popular films, Rear Window in 1954. There you go. How much was a gallon of gas? 29 cents. Don't you wish? Anyway, just some fun things here. Famous
I know the
relative.
kids,
Go ahead.
the kids can compare it to their family, you know, the people up at the top of you know, all
Yes.
about they can compare to their parents and them, and then they make them guess on something. So it's kind of-
Good idea. So I was with our youth in our ward last week at the Family Search Center in Lehigh, and they are going on trek this year. So they were trying to find some church pioneers. It's made it real easy for them. We came in here to Famous Relatives. They clicked on church pioneers, and a whole bunch of them showed up that they could click on and learn about. So this was kind of fun. And they actually had more fun looking at who the famous athletes were that see, this is why I'm such a good baseball player. Yeah, I wish. Okay, let's go back one. Next activity, compare a face. This is kind of a fun one too. They take a picture of themselves and then it'll compare their face with all of their ancestors. It really bothers the boys when they look mostly like their Grandma Jane. But I said, hey, you know what? It's all about DNA. It has not, you just means you both got the same jaw and the same, eyes and stuff. So don't let that worry you too much. Record my story is a great way to find ideas for, I don't know what to say. So you can click on any one of these and here it'll tell you a ton of questions to go with your goals and accomplishments and so on. So this is a great way to help you, just find some information about recording your own story. Picture my heritage. What?
Well, a lot of them, when they come, I have them add a memory from what happened this summer or something that was neat about them or their hobby, and they record it. And I said, now go look at your memories. It's right there. It goes right to memory, and they love it. And they said,
I know.
You're bored on Sunday. Guess what you can do? Tell your story. And when you're old like me, you can find it and say what your voice was like.
Yep. So I'm gonna do a little bit of thing. I just found out last week. My cousin is president and matron at the Orem Temple, and I went through a session last week and happened to run into them. She gave a talk at the dedication, and I didn't realize that she used me in her talk, but she talked about a song that our grandparents had sang. There were 4 brothers, the Allen family quartet. And she said as a little kid, she used to listen to that song all the time, but then, it was a 78 phonograph record and it just died and nobody has record players anymore anyway that'll play a 78 record. And she said, then all of a sudden I found my cousin, which is me, digitized it and uploaded it as a memory. She said, now it's available for everybody anytime we want it. And you're right, it is so cool and fun. And people love it when you do it, and others love it, the fact that you did do it. So I'm glad you're teaching the youth that. That's awesome. Oh, I didn't talk about this one. This is a fun one they like too. They take their picture and then it puts it inside here. They can see, what they would look like as a German or an Italian or a Mexican. In-home activities. Here's a list of probably 40 or 50 activities that you could do for a family home evening or a Sunday activity with your family. So you can just scroll through all these and all kinds of ideas of things to do. The last one is if you go to all activities, there they all are, and you can scroll through. They've got them grouped by you and your stories, all about your ancestors and so on. So tons of fun activities to do. The last section I want to cover is temple, and I actually have a whole class on this one as well, so I'm not going to go too much in depth, but from the temple, you can go in here and you can quickly see how many reservations you have. If you're a member of a family group, you can see your family groups here and any reservations that have been shared with the group. If you do share them with the group, for example, we have our ward group here. Anyone in the ward that has joined the group or anyone in the family that has joined the group can print these and do the work for them. And so it's a great way to share these names. You can also share names at the temple. And then all of your shared names will show up here. I'll just give you a little secret what I do. When I reserve names, I share them with the temple right away. And the reason I do that is because shared names never expire. Otherwise, you have 2 years to do them. And I used to have over 3,000 names. I'm down, you can see here, to 604 now. So I've been making some pretty good progress. But then when I want to do the work, I just come over here and then unshare it with the temple, and it just comes back into my list, and then I can do the work. So you can see a list of the ones that you've completed, or if somebody in a group or somebody in the temple that you've shared with does it, they will show up in here as well. So I can look here. I went in and did these initiatories yesterday, but somebody, where did it go? I did that one too. Here we go. Somebody in Atlanta did a sealing for me back on December 29th. Somebody in Mount Timpanogos, those are probably mine. Somebody in Hartford did, and so it just shows you what has been done and where they were done. Here's one done in Rexburg, Idaho. Ordinances ready is a cool feature. The other thing I tell the youth, the 11 and the 12-year-old and above, those who have temple recommends, is please don't ever go to the temple and just take the names that they give them. Just use this ordinances ready feature, and you can come in here and you can click and it'll give you 5 or 6 baptism and confirmation names right away. Here's a way now they've added that you can schedule an appointment. If you click this link, it actually takes you to a new tab to the church's website. And then here's the reservation policy. It's nice every once in a while to brush up on these and know who you should and should not be doing ordinances for. And we, in 57 minutes, made it through everything. So I have 3 minutes to spare for questions. And anybody has questions?
Steve, on the computer generated about people, you know what I'm talking about? It generates a little bio about people.
Oh, yeah. So you want to just go look at let's go look at somebody.
Yeah.
So let's put a recent.
What am I missing? Because it says to change that or add to it. You can just click more and then hit edit. I don't see any edit in there.
Let's look and see. So you're talking about this about right here?
Yeah. And then it says if you click more, you can edit it, but I don't see how it works. The directions are down at the bottom too. Yeah.
I didn't think it would edit. I think.
Well, see those directions down at the bottom?
Oh, no, see, it says to change it, edit the data on the details tab.
Yeah. Okay,
That's where you have to go to edit it.
okay, on where's that?
Right here.
Right there.
Oh, okay.
Program. And you go all the way down where that's at.
Yeah, because all this about is doing is it's going through
Yeah, I know
detailed
what it does,
sources, collaborate, memories. It's going through all of these and pulling them all into one page. Yeah, learn more just tells you how to do it. And basically, it's just go over here to details and change what is wrong.
So so you can't add a sentence in there.
Yeah.
You can just.
No,
add
you can't.
Details.
No, the way you would do that is over here in details, you could add notes down in the brief life history. That's where you would add it.
Okay, wait.
At the bottom, where it says.
Here at the very bottom,
Oh, okay. All right.
write a brief life history. And see
Okay.
right here, this checkbox, Bob, publish this brief life history to the about page.
Yeah.
So that's how you do it.
I think I got it.
If you don't, call me or text me afterwards and we'll go through it again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I have 1 more minute left. Has anybody got any other questions?
I need to go back and do it, and then I'll have questions.
Okay, you can tell I'm a computer programmer. Everything just has to be, exactly right. And I am recording this. As soon as I finish, I will send the link to it to Bob or Chris, and then you can
Okay.
share it with the family history group there. I think it's available for 30 days is the way the church's Zoom account works.
Thank you.
Well, it's been fun doing this with you. Hopefully you learned one thing out of all of that. I know most of it you already knew. Next time in February, we're going to be doing what I call having fun with FamilySearch. It's kind of a conglomeration of all of my lessons pulled together. So we actually dig into some of these things instead of just glossing over them. So I look
Sounds
forward to
great.
seeing you guys then.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
He's retired.
Okay.